When the calendar flips to August, we know that NFL training camps are in session and the NFL season is just around the corner. This is going to be another great season ahead. But I wanted to ask you guys a question. Going into this season, looking at the off seasons of what's happened, what's transpired going into this season, which team, player, coach, GM, it could be any of your choice, has the most pressure going into this season right now?
I guess that's I
I'll
guess
kick
we'll
it to you.
start with me,
Yeah,
right?
I'll kick it to you
Okay,
first,
let's
Frank.
well let's listen. I'm gonna go with the Colts. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
They have
Uh
no pressure. Now that their
oh,
quarterback's out, zero pressure for the Colts.
yeah, I know, but anyways, I'll get into that's another story. They just signed the GM and coach extensions to 2026, so
Good
must be
move.
doing something right. No, guys, let's go with the obvious one. I'll take the Packers. I'll take the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers. Simply put, all the drama was really around them this offseason. Was Rodgers coming back? Was he not? He is back now. But really, what has I guess this is the second year in a row when the Packers management hasn't surrounded Rodgers with any weapons other than what's already been there. Like, okay, yes, Aaron Jones is still there, great running back. Devontae Adams, probably one of the premier wide receivers in the league. But after that, it's where's the support staff? Where's the other wide receiver, Devin Funches? They signed. Are they're really pulling a lot of hope in their rookie or second year wide receivers, but also if they don't win this year, what's the plan? You could see a team that could finish, win their division, maybe get as high as the NFC Championship or Super Bowl. And if Rodgers leaves, they could be a team going from first to worst. There really is no succession plan here other than, yeah, Jordan Love is there, but when Rodgers goes, so does Adams. And then what happens? Are you really going to retool in Green Bay? It's not really the best free agent destination in the world, is it? So I'm going to go with the Packers on this one, boys.
Aaron Rodgers already had that little quibble about, free agents are not coming to Green Bay for a tourist destination. They're coming to play here with me. So he had to throw that line out there. It feels like him and Adams kind of have like that last dance type feel to them. Like
Yeah.
this is their last go with it. But yeah, Green Bay's got a ton of pressure, I say. The whole organization, the coach, Matt LaFleur, the GM, because they kind of created this situation, right? Where Rodgers is this upset. And now this is the bed they have to sleep in. And this is their chance to win it. Because next year, without Rodgers there, they are not even going to be a playoff team, I don't think.
I'd love to go against the grain here and say I think Green Bay has zero pressure. None.
Explain.
Well, here's the thing. If we think about the NFC last year, was the NFC ever more open than it was last year? I mean, look at their division. The division was a disaster. The greatest division in football, or the best division in football, the NFC West, kind of ran into a lot of bad luck where the Rams they were not happy with their quarterback. Arizona was too young. San Francisco had injuries up and down their lineup. So I just look at the NFC and I'm like, every team in the NFC West got better. Seattle got better. San Fran's going to be better. St. Louis or the Rams. LA is probably going to be better. Arizona's going to be good. I even look at the Bears and I'm like, I don't even know if the Bears are not maybe a top team in the NFC North. I think last year was the year to win. The Bucks are obviously just as good, if not better. So I don't really think that the Packers have a real big pressure this year. Like last year was their year and they didn't win. Maybe there's a little bit on LaFleur, but I think everybody's kind of safe there. And this is without doubt the last dance, without doubt.
But knowing that Rodgers is only here for another year, that you have an elite top tier quarterback for one more year, that's it. That in itself gives you pressure because you know this is your last shot to win with this group of guys, pretty much.
Yeah, that's that. I'm sure a Packer fan would be stressing out a lot. But if I was a Packer fan, I'd be like a Leaf fan this year, where it'd be like, we had our. I'd feel defeated a little bit this year, where it's like this season is just whatever. I'm just gonna go with it and watch. But I just look around the NFC and I'm like, man, there are some teams that got really, really good in the offseason. Again, the NFC West, the Bears, the Bucks are gonna be good. So I know this is probably Green Bay's last year to win with Rodgers, but in terms of pressure, I mean, I thought last year was far more pressure. Number one seed, a lot of factors went their way, and they still didn't win. So they got a little bit. It's a little Leafean for them right now.
Okay, Bobby. So if you don't think they have a lot of pressure, then why don't you tell us who you do think has a lot of pressure?
Okay, well, I got a few guys. I'm gonna save one for later because I think Joe, you're gonna touch on him. But
Yeah.
one of the guys, it's I don't want to say there's a ton of pressure here, but I'm really gonna be watching for this. Michael Thomas, the wide receiver in New Orleans. For years, people have been telling me that, not even been telling me, bettors and the betting public has been saying that he is the most valuable non-quarterback in the league. When he misses games, New Orleans was moving points, 1.5, 2 points, which is unprecedented for a wide receiver. Nobody moved a point that is not a quarterback more than Michael Thomas. And now the fact that he's not going to have Drew Brees, the fact that he's got Jameis Winston, or I don't even know who their backup is there.
Taysom Hill.
Oh my goodness, he's going to have one of those two guys throwing to him. Now we're going to actually see how elite he is, because we've always had this kind of chicken and egg thing. Is it the quarterbacks or is it the wide receivers? And everybody's been telling me how great Michael Thomas is. Well, we're going to see how great he is when he doesn't have an elite quarterback throwing to him. So I'm really excited to see him, but he's got a lot of pressure. He has a bad year. All of a sudden we go, well, how much of it was Drew Brees and how much of it was actually Michael Thomas? The last guy I'm going to go with, you're going to be surprised because you would say there's no way there's any pressure on this guy. But Bill Belichick kind of made a statement in this offseason saying that, I kind of acknowledge that Tom was right. We weren't aggressive enough in free agency. Tom was a lot more important than we want to admit. I don't know if you guys realize he went after a bunch of tight ends. So they're going to go run heavy. They're going to support Cam Newton. And I think Bill Belichick has a ton of pressure on him just because of Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl last year. When we see these public divorces, like in the celebrity world, we always see what happens after, like who succeeds and who doesn't. And halfway through the season, when we saw Tom struggling and Bill winning with a really bad lineup, what was the narrative? Wow, Bill is unbelievable. And then from the midway point on, when Tom just took over and basically won like the last 9 weeks, what was the narrative? Wow, Tom is amazing, and Bill kind of faded. I think there's a lot of pressure on Bill in terms of the legacy play here of, we always argued, was it Tom? Again, chicken and the egg. Was it Tom or was it Bill? We're seeing that Tom could thrive somewhere else. Now we got to see Bill win without Tom, because we haven't seen him win in the NFL without him.
I mean, I think there's different kinds of pressure. I don't think Bill Belichick has any external pressure, not from ownership, not from the fans of Boston, the New England area, because he's been so successful. Internal pressure that he puts upon himself, I think that's where the pressure lies, because he knows that Tom won last year, like you said.
And no pressure in terms of getting fired. No pressure in terms of getting fired, but on a legacy level, like we're talking about bigger than football.
I could see that.
A lot of pressure on him.
All right. I was a little shocked at first, but you explained it, and I could see that. Okay, I'll give you that one. Okay, I'm going to go with another coach QB combo for mine, and I'm going to head out west to the Los Angeles Rams, Coach Sean McVay, because, listen, he's got a 43-21 record. That's amazing. He goes from one of the best young minds in football to one of the best coaches in football, but he has not won a Super Bowl yet. Just came off a 10-6 season with a playoff win included in there, and yet he still made the decision to trade his starting quarterback, Jared Goff, who's 26 years old, who's already been to a Super Bowl, for Matthew Stafford, who's 33 years old and has never even won a playoff game. This is a huge hand that he played here, so he's got some pressure on him from the organization, from the fans. They just built a new stadium there in LA. I think they have to improve upon where they were last year. And last year, I thought they had a great team, so they have a chance. It all depends on Matt Stafford. And Matt Stafford has a ton of pressure on himself because he goes from Detroit, where they were never good. Did they even threaten for any playoff spots? I can't even remember during his tenure. And now he goes from a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. So he's never had this type of pressure on himself. So the coach is depending on him. The city's depending on him. I like Matt Stafford, and I like him better than Jared Goff. But look at the age difference. It's a big swing. It's a home run swing for Sean McVay. And anything short of an NFC championship game is a fail for Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford.
I don't think there's any question. I think the most pressure in the league is on Matt Stafford because for years that guy had pressure for one day, Thanksgiving, because that's the only time we ever watched Matt Stafford play. But now, the thing was, well, he was in Detroit, so he never had expectations. When with expectations comes pressure.
Yep.
And I think he faces a ton. I think he's super inconsistent. I'm excited just to see how he does because for years I've been saying he's an inconsistent quarterback, and consistency is what makes a lot of these quarterbacks great. I want to see him now play with expectations because in Detroit it was a tire fire and they had none. Now we're going to see him in that pressure cooker.
Can I throw one honorable mention out there?
Yeah, please. I was going to go to that actually, Frankie, for honorable mentions.
Let's go some honorable mentions.
Yeah, do it.
This one's for my dad because he's such a big fan. But how about Dak Prescott? Now, injury aside, listen, we don't know what it's like coming back from an injury like that. But when you're playing in the fishbowl that is Dallas, and he gets that deal coming off a possibly catastrophic leg injury, it's deals like that where it's hard to really put money into the defense because they still really didn't improve their defense. They still have the weapons on the offense. Zeke is hopefully bounces back and Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, but they're going to look at Dak and say, okay, you got your money now. You know, they're expected to win the NFC East. I know Washington won the division last year. Actually, they defaulted to winning that, but to me, they look like the best team in the NFC East, but a lot of that's going to be on Dak. And I just think that's going to be, let's just see if he's capable of being in that upper echelon of quarterbacks that he wants to be paid like one. So I'm just going to throw that one out there.
Unfortunately for Dak, I don't think he has the defense to even come close to. He could play as great as he wants. He's going to have to shoot out the lights there. I actually had Mike McCarthy as on my honorable mention because being the coach of the Dallas Cowboy, I don't think he has the rope that Jason Garrett had for all those years. And I think he underachieved as a coach. So I think he's in a bit of a hot seat, even though he's in the second year. I've also got Baker Mayfield. The Cleveland Browns get their first playoff win in such a long time. They almost defeat the Kansas City Chiefs, if you remember. So he's going to have a lot of pressure to take that next step because the Browns are a huge fan base. Like there's a lot of Cleveland Brown fans out there. So they want to see some improvement. And then I got to kick back to my boys, the Steelers, Big Ben. This is probably Big Ben's last hurrah, last swan song, last dance for them as well. After Big Ben, they don't really have a succession plan. So it's Big Ben. It's that defense again. Hopefully they can stay healthy, which they couldn't last year. If the defense can stay healthy, I think they can be a playoff team. But go for the Super Bowl, I just don't see it yet. And I'm a huge Steeler fan. I love to stay positive, but don't think so.
Yeah, that window is closed. I think the only honorable mention I really have, and he's kind of flying under the radar right now, Tua Tagovailoa on a team that is ready to win. I don't know how big of a leash he's going to have down there, given that so far his career has been a little underwhelming, given that he was the 5th overall pick. But I think that team is ready to win. And, we give quarterbacks time, but I don't know how much time he's going to be given that, that division might be up for grabs if Buffalo kind of doesn't. Think about this. Buffalo is the leader of that group. And if I think of a team that I don't trust, it's a team like Buffalo that's been a tire fire since the 90s. So the division's there for Miami. So I think Tua could be under a little bit.
All right. So listeners, why don't you tell us, who do you think has the most pressure going into this NFL season? It could be a coach, GM, player, whoever you think. Write it down in the comments. Let us know. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate it all. Thank you.